Welcome to Healthy Living. Your doctor may have told you that certain conditions are normal for your age and that you need to accept them. But how much should we really accept? And what can we actually change? Please hit the like button and subscribe before we continue, and stick around to the end. According to the medical professionals, as we age, we can expect arterial stiffening, hypertension, high blood pressure, cardiovascular problems, bone loss, fragility, osteoporosis, and constipation. For women, muscle tone in the pelvic floor may decrease, leading to some incontinence. Men, on the other hand, may experience prostate enlargement and urinary difficulties. We should also anticipate memory loss, cognitive decline, hearing and vision problems such as cataracts, and changes in our skin. Our skin becomes thinner, less elastic, and more prone to bruising. We develop wrinkles, age spots, and skin tags. Additionally, our metabolism slows down, we lose muscle mass while gaining fat, and we tend to gain weight. However, let me introduce you to a lady who didn't receive that memo. She defied the conventional expectations of aging. The misconception lies in the belief that our muscles alone determine our overall function. It is often claimed that losing muscle leads to a decline in coordination, stability, and balance. But the truth is that our muscles simply respond to signals they receive. Our brain and nervous system process an incredible amount of information every second. They send signals to animate our muscles and various parts of our body. Gravity, movement, and sensory input all play a role in this process. The information is processed and signals are sent to the muscles, creating coordination, stability, and balance. In essence, it all comes down to the signals. Muscles can be tested to evaluate their functionality. Non-functioning muscles can be activated within seconds by changing the signals they receive. This doesn't mean we build more muscles in those seconds. Rather, we alter the signals. The key lies in how the body and nervous system process these signals. Living things have abundant signals, while dead things lack any signals. So, what do we call a muscle that receives no signals and generates none? We call it inactive, like a steak. Some argue that muscle size directly correlates with strength. While this is true when the muscle has a signal and good quality, a larger muscle without any signal is just a larger steak. Now, let's explore why we've reached these conclusions and why we're told to expect poor health as we age. Firstly, we observe what's happening around us and assume it's normal because it appears common. However, frequency does not equate to normalcy. Secondly, there's the central dogma, also known as genetic determinism. This idea has prevailed for nearly 70 years, claiming that genes determine everything about us. However, dogma is an authoritative principle taken as indisputably true, leaving little room for questioning. The central dogma states that DNA controls life. In most cells, excluding red blood cells, we have DNA in the nucleus, which serves as a recipe for every protein and body component. RNA, the DNA's mirror image, imprints on the DNA and assembles amino acids into proteins. The discovery of this structure in 1953 led to the belief that DNA held all the answers. In 1958, the central dogma was proposed, claiming that DNA controls every aspect of life. However, over time, this model proved incomplete. Initially, they estimated needing 140,000 genes to account for the 100,000 proteins and an additional 40,000 regulatory proteins. According to their model, each gene encoded a single protein. Yet, when the Human Genome Project traced all the genes, the count ended up around 20,000. This discrepancy shattered the model's completeness and posed a challenge. It revealed that genetics alone isn't the sole determinant. Epigenetics, which goes beyond genetics, emerged as a significant factor. It's not just about the genes you possess, it's about how they're expressed. Genes can be present but remain unexpressed, while good or bad genes can be expressed. The combination and interaction of genes can produce a vast array of proteins, allowing for greater diversity despite the limited gene count. However, a crucial question remained unasked. What instructs DNA on when, where, and what to do? What determines its actions and decisions? Think of DNA as a blueprint. It provides instructions, like a drawing for a house, on how to assemble proteins. However, saying that DNA controls life is akin to suggesting that the blueprint itself constructs the house, ignoring the role of contractors, builders, painters, and decorators. Another analogy is comparing DNA to a cookbook. It contains recipes that guide us in preparing delicious food. But if we claim that DNA controls proteins, it's like saying the cookbook decides what's for dinner and cooks the meal. In reality, the DNA is simply an informational guide. There's something else that dictates when, what, and how the DNA is expressed. It comes from chemical, mechanical, structural, and emotional factors that make up our complex being. Our perception plays a significant role. Different individuals can have distinct responses to the same stimuli, such as allergies or emotional reactions. These interpretations and perceptions create the signals that determine DNA expression. This understanding is crucial because it distinguishes between being a victim or a creator. If we accept the outdated notion that DNA solely controls everything, we become victims with no power to change. We rely on medical interventions and funding research for new pills. However, when we grasp the concept of epigenetics, we realize our immense control. Our nervous system processes vast amounts of information, allowing us to modify the chemical, mechanical, structural, and emotional aspects. We can alter our perception, interpretation, lifestyle, and practices. We can change the expression of our DNA and take charge of our health. We also need to address the idea of the body as a statue or a river. Are we rigid and unchanging, or are we dynamic and constantly evolving, like a flowing river? Let me share an actual example. There was a patient who sought therapy for various health issues. After a year of treatment, most of her problems were resolved. However, when she started exercising, her knees began to hurt. She asked the therapist if she should stop exercising. The therapist assured her they would find a solution. A few days later, she had her annual visit with her medical doctor. The medical doctor advised her that if she has knee pain at her age, she should avoid walking or exercising as it could further damage her knees. This perspective treats the human body as a statue, believing that we are stuck with what we have and that it inevitably wears out with time. However, we must recognize that the body is more like a river, constantly changing. Just as you can't step into the same river twice due to the ever-changing water, our cells are always in flux. The question is whether these changes lead to improvement, deterioration, or remain relatively constant. Remarkably, approximately 90% of our cells are replaced every year. So when we talk about knee pain, it's not because the knees are wearing out, but rather because they haven't repaired properly. Every part of our body breaks down over time, which is natural and expected, but it is also meant to be rebuilt. Consider how often people experience pain in one knee but not the other, or have arthritis in only one knee. It's not because they favored one leg over the other or used it excessively. It demonstrates that we are a dynamic entity continuously undergoing repairs. Understanding that our DNA codes for proteins but that it's the epigenetics, the environment and various factors that shape gene expression, becomes crucial. Epigenetic changes occur moment by moment, not in gradual steps over time. Our bodies process billions of bits of information every second, and each bit influences the genetic expression of future generations. In the book, You Are the Placebo, by Joe Dispenza, he discusses research on epigenetics. It's fascinating to discover that we can influence a significant number of our approximately 20,000 genes. By making dietary changes, individuals with prostate cancer experienced upregulation of 48 tumor-suppressing genes and downregulation of 453 tumor-promoting genes. Simply improving their diet positively impacted hundreds of genes in favor of health. Emotional factors, such as stress, also play a role. Through practices like meditation and relaxation exercises, stress reduction can positively affect gene expression. In a study where novices were taught these techniques and practiced them for 8 weeks, they favorably expressed 1561 genes associated with improved health. This highlights the profound impact we can have on our genetic expression through lifestyle changes and managing our emotional well-being. We are not passive victims of our DNA but active creators of our health and well-being. The longer people engaged in certain practices, the more benefits they experienced. For example, a study found that exercising twice a week for approximately 6 months resulted in an average improvement of 7,000 genes related to better health. Additionally, they examined structural aspects related to movement, posture, and exercise, and discovered that these practices positively influenced 209 genes. These examples demonstrate that thousands of genes can be expressed differently, emphasizing that it's not about the genes we have, but how we express them. By focusing on any one of the three categories, emotional, structural, or chemical, we can likely achieve significant benefits and impact hundreds of genes. However, when we combine all three approaches simultaneously, we have the opportunity to truly build a better body. Now that we have a solid understanding of these concepts, let's address the question, should we expect poor health with aging? To clarify, aging itself is inevitable, and it does have some impact on our well-being. However, many of the issues we attribute to aging are actually caused by other factors. True health is not merely the absence of disease but a state where everything is functioning as it should, a 100% state of optimal performance. If everything in our bodies worked perfectly, we wouldn't experience health problems. However, the functioning of our bodies operates on a gradient, not an on-off switch. As time passes and we age, we tend to experience a decline in our overall function, from a state of health to mild decline, moderate decline, and eventually disease. This decline may occur around our 30s, progress to moderate decline in our 40s and 50s, and eventually reach the range of disease. These timeframes may vary individually, but this is the general trend. The rate at which this decline occurs depends on several factors: toxicity, deficiency, degeneration, and stress. Toxicity refers to conditions like insulin resistance, metal toxicity, and inflammation that interfere with the body's natural processes. Deficiency occurs when the body lacks essential elements, similar to trying to build a house with inadequate materials. Degeneration is a use it or lose it phenomenon, where aging-related changes such as posture and muscle tone occur due to lack of continued use and stimulation. Finally, stress alters the body's priorities, redirecting resources away from healing and cell regeneration. By understanding and influencing these four factors, toxicity, deficiency, degeneration, and stress, we can alter the rate of decline. Some individuals engage in behaviors that accelerate decline, leading to premature death. However, what if we could shift the trajectory in the opposite direction? By slowing down the decline, we can maintain health until later in life, experience milder decline in old age, and potentially avoid disease and suffering altogether. This concept forms the foundation of my channel, where I provide information on how to holistically care for ourselves and slow down the decline. While the lines depicting decline and longevity are well established, the hypothetical line suggests that with future advancements, cells could potentially be immortal. This would redefine the concept of aging, as we wouldn't just live longer but live longer without the associated effects of aging. So, the first step is to stop expecting poor health as we age. Our emotional state plays a role in epigenetic influence, and what we expect can instruct our genome accordingly. Secondly, we should engage in practices that address the emotional, structural, and chemical aspects, such as meditation, exercise, and reducing inflammation. My channel provides numerous videos detailing the specifics of these practices. By following these 4 steps, we can transition from the gray arrow representing decline to the green arrow representing a slower rate of decline. That's the essence of it all. The next step involves elevating the green line closer to the yellow line, which represents potential advancements in longevity research. 1. There are 2 supplements worth mentioning: NR, nicotinamide riboside, and NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. These supplements come in different forms but essentially serve the same purpose in the body. Some people debate which one is better, but they each have their advantages. Nicotinamide riboside, in particular, has been extensively studied and is known to cross cell membranes more effectively due to its smaller size. Another supplement called resveratrol has also shown positive effects on sirtuins, as well as a substance called coin. These supplements are extensively used by those who knows about them. There's even a brand that combines all 3 supplements into one package at an affordable price. I'll provide a link below for you to check it out. Once you've incorporated these practices and supplements, the next step is to await a breakthrough. Researchers are working tirelessly to decode the genetic mechanisms and influence the expression of our genes to halt the aging process. Some believe this breakthrough could happen within a few decades. Therefore, taking care of yourself and prolonging your lifespan increases the likelihood of being around when that breakthrough occurs. When will it happen? Will they succeed? By staying tuned, we'll eventually find out. If you enjoyed this video, you'll surely appreciate the one discussing the breakthrough. To truly master your health and understand how the body functions, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and enable all notifications, so you never miss any life-saving content.